G'day there, Glen Morris here from the Smart Energy Lab, and today I'm going to be talking about something really exciting from Catch Power. Now, Catch Power, for many of you have heard the name many times here in Australia and New Zealand. They're a big deal, and they've made products like hot water diverters, like the Catch Blue, the Catch Green, really great product. And then they came up with their small unit, which is the Catch. Initially, it was called the Catch Solar Relay. Now they're calling it Catch Control because it can do so much more than just operate a relay. But this is a single-phase unit. Now they've got the 6-channel unit. It can do 3-phase. It can do so much more. So we're going to unbox it. Let's get into it. So what is the 6-channel Catch Control all about? It's suitable as an energy meter for a wide range of inverter brands. Brands that we all love, like Fronius, Goodwee, Sungrow, SMA. In fact, almost every month there's more being added. So I'm going to put a link to in the description so you can just see what the latest integrations are. That's one of the things that is a big advantage of using a Catch Control system is you are unlocked from having to be brand specific. You might have multiple inverters, for instance. You might have a Fronius and a Goodwee. Also, they offer services that allow you to control your system remotely, and that's a big plus. We'll talk more about that when it comes to flexible exports. It's a bit of a technical topic. But anyway, let's see what's in the box. We've got, of course, the 6-channel Catch Control. It's got ports for AC, so we've got our 3-phase voltage sensing here, and we've also got a neutral connection. And we've got phase in and phase out. On the digital side, we've got RS485 and DRM, and I'll talk more about what they can do for you when we get to that. And inside here are the CTs. 1, 2, bit of cardboard, something to tell you what your product serial number is, and it looks like there's a QR code there, and a warning sticker. Because you're putting in something that controls energy systems, you're required to have a label. So this is an energy diversion technology installed. It's a warning label. Isolate all supplies before working on the appliance. So they even provide some of the labeling. And if I get in here, there we go. So there's our 6 CTs. So if you're not familiar with the acronym, a CT is a way of measuring current without interrupting the cable. So this little device here clips over your conductors. I can clip it open. There we go. So it can clip over a conductor and it measures the changing magnetic field around it. So it's known as a CT, which is short for current transformer. And it takes that very subtle change in magnetic field and sends it to the other end of this cable, which is connected to one of the sensor inputs on the Catch Control. And therefore, it's actually measuring current. But for those electricians and definitely you electrical engineers out there, you'll know that you need to know more than just current to know power. You need voltage as well. And so because this unit is connected to the same single or 3-phase voltage source, it can do a calculation. It can do voltage times current in real time and work out things like the amount of active power, amount of reactive power, etc. So it's measuring true power because it can measure current in real time and voltage in real time. So that's what CTs are for. And one of the big pluses about CTs too is you don't really disturb your installation. You just got to find the conductor that you want to clip onto. Now the reason why there's 6, now you might think, hang on, we've got a 3-phase system. There's only 3 conductors, active conductors. So it can also measure generation. So you've got a 3-phase inverter and you've got 3-phase supply. So you need 6 CTs. So there you go. That's one of the pluses of the 6-channel device. Now, being 6 channels too, I guess they can do more than just measure 3 phases. They're measuring channels, and what those channels can do is understand loads as well. So the Catch Control is also suitable for an existing range of compatible single-phase inverters. So even though this is the 6-channel 3-phase, you can use it for single-phase inverters, and it gives you enhanced levels of monitoring with all those spare CTs. Now, there's my habit is if I use an acronym, I like to explain it to you guys. So DRM, it's our first acronym for the day, sometimes called a TLA, 3-letter acronym, right? So DRM stands for demand response mode. What is a demand response mode? Well, it's a way of controlling a piece of equipment. Generally, it could be a load such as an air conditioner or hot water service, or controlling generation like a solar inverter and or with batteries. And demand response mode allows for some smart control, whether it's locally or remote, of those devices. And the catch control has an ability to control a DC coil on a contactor and therefore switch loads as well, much bigger than just the small output of this unit. DRM output will be available for as an alternative to installers in Queensland under their GSD backstop requirements. Now, it's a fast-moving space, so this may already be available. So I'm going to put a link in the description so you can see what the latest news is on the Queensland's backstop requirements. And having mentioned backstop, generically it's known as dynamic export control or even dynamic load control. It means that you've got an ability to allow your installation and your solar, battery, inverter systems to be remotely controlled by the DNSP. There's another acronym, Distributed Network Service Provider. It's a real mouthful. Just think of it as the company that owns the poles and wires that delivers electricity to your installation. In New Zealand, they give a very clever name to that. It's called Lines Company because they own the lines. Yeah, I like the logic there. So it's suitable for single, even split phase, as well as 3-phase, of course. And if these aren't big enough, these CTs, you might be a large installation. You can get 200 amp and even 400 amp CTs. That should do you for some pretty big installations. So in common with the 2-channel, this is the 2-channel controller here, it comes with solar analytics for free. Now, if you haven't heard the news, a while back, Solar Analytics was acquired by Catch Power, and Solar Analytics, great Australian company, were really focused on providing knowledge about your energy use and generation, and offering you services based on that. Everything from finding out when there's a problem with your solar system. I remember my namesake Nigel Morris, no relation, realised that he had Solar Analytics installed, and this is before he even worked for them, that his system, he got a little alert from Solar Analytics telling him that there's possible shading of his solar array. And how could a device like this tell that there's some shading on your solar array that wasn't there before? Because it's monitoring over time. And it could see that this system, a year ago, for instance, didn't have any production issues early in the morning, but now it was. And there's a very likely that's caused by some growth of foliage. And I think Nigel looked out the window and went, aha. Yes, there's a tree there. Anyway, Nige, if I got it wrong, let me know in the comments. So the catch control also integrates with an increasing number of EVSEs. Wow, there's another TLA. EVSE, electric vehicle supply equipment. Now, this is kind of one of my pet hates, is people call those things that they put on the wall to charge their cars a EV charger. It's actually just AC power supply to your vehicle, your EV. The EV has the AC to DC converter built in. So really the car's got the charger built in, unless you're one of the few people who has a DC charging option. It's pretty rare these days for home, but that's what a fast charger is. It truly is a supply of DC power directly to your vehicle. So let's get back on track here. So the catch control integrates with a whole range of EVSEs, let's call them EV chargers, and they can be controlled by OCPP. Oh no, another TLA. Open Charge Point Protocol. OCPP is basically, as the name suggests, it's a open protocol, and it means that third parties can develop products that can control your EVSE or your EV charger. Now, there'll be, once again, a list in the description, and it's really getting very big. I mean, this is one of the strong points of Catch Power, is that they have integrated with so many other brands. So you've got one product that can control lots and lots of equipment. Now, it also complies with Energy Queensland's requirements for dynamic load control. The introduction of dynamic load control might have seemed like a bit of a bad thing for some people, like, I don't want my energy supply authority controlling my loads, but actually it often gives you a benefit, which is they may give you approvals for larger systems, because one of the challenges now in Australia particularly is that being like the highest per capita rooftop solar in the world is there's just too much solar, particularly in the middle of the day, and it's causing problems. So the blunt tool was just to limit the size of your system. Say, sorry, the network's pretty well full. You can only put 5 kilowatt inverter in. But with dynamic load control, they allow often larger inverter systems, but when they don't need the power, they can ramp it down remotely. So it's actually a really good thing. Catch control can be used to control the major CER. Jeez, there's another TLA. Consumer energy resources. Yeah, basically your inverter, your battery, etc. So in a home base, using time of use tariffs or wholesale electricity markets, that's a pretty clever feature. If you haven't heard of dynamic pricing, there are some electricity retailers in Australia that offer you pricing linked to the wholesale market. Now, that's kind of good and bad. If you don't pay attention, you can be buying electricity when it's really expensive and not using it when it's really cheap. But with smart devices, they can optimize things such as, well, the price of electricity's gone negative. Now, what does that mean? It means you actually get paid to use electricity. And why not charge your battery or your EV? So that's something really cool that can be done. It also can control batteries and inverters and electric hot water particularly. I like to think of an electric hot water service, your typical resistive element tank that's still very, very prevalent all across Australia, is the battery you already own that you didn't even know. Because you might be using in a typical domestic installation with a family of 2 or 3, something like 10 to 15 kilowatt hours a day of hot water, the energy used to heat that hot water. If you can heat that hot water using a smart controller, whether it's something as advanced as the Catch Green or the Catch Control Relay, you are actually turning your hot water service into a free battery. Yeah, a free battery. Now, the Clean Energy Council, often referred to as the CEC, another TLA, are listing on their website all of the CCIP AU standards across various jurisdictions. Now, that's a longer TLA. So CCIP, Common Smart Inverter Protocol of Australia. Yep. And so it's a common protocol that allows for different jurisdictions to come up with dynamic flexible export controls. So we've got South Australia, Victoria, and Queensland at the moment. No doubt other states will follow because it's a great model for allowing rapid growth of renewable generation in the domestic environment. Now, something that also is really great about Catch Power, it's a wholly owned, wholly engineered and designed in Australia. Yep. It's really a homegrown product. So go Australia. Now, both products can be used for greater insight and control. So you might already have a 2-channel unit and you can add a 6-channel unit. And like I said before, you can get some really big CTs, up to 400 amps if you're doing a really large installation. The Catch Control itself can manage most of the major consumer energy resources. Now, here's just a brief list of them: an inverter, DC batteries, electric hot water, EV chargers, and DRM control. Now, that's the one that's only available with the 6-channel unit that I have here. So, Catch Control, it easily integrates with your solar system. It's a universal meter. Now, what does that mean? A lot of inverters have their own meter so that they can measure your consumption and do self-use calculations, etc., to maximize the benefit of particularly of a solar battery system. But when it comes to being able to get approval for dynamic load control or dynamic export control, such as in South Australia with their flexible exports program, in Victoria with their backstop program, or Queensland with their GSD dynamic export program, they have to get approved. Their metering system has to get approved. So it means that there's often a delay or even not available for certain brands of inverters. But what Catch have done, Catch have got this device approved with those 3 states and their distribution bodies. And so that means you don't have to worry that your inverter doesn't actually have approval yet for dynamic export control, because they provide it with their own device. So that's a big plus. What else? So export limiting, a big thing. Live data. Now, this is where Solar Analytics comes along again. Solar Analytics it is really a lot of data science has gone into that product. And they can take the live data coming off this, which is then sent through to the cloud, and make both suggestions on things like products suitability, like is it wasting energy? It's always being curtailed, or is your system not really big enough for your loads? You could actually add more solar. It can do load control based on the data that it's collecting. So it goes, well, why don't we turn your hot water service on during the day when there is surplus solar and not buy electricity? The ability to understand the wholesale energy markets as well, so it's particularly when you've got dynamic pricing. Now, one that really got me that Solar Analytics developed, which is something called the Plan Optimizer. Now, if you've been in one of the states where you can choose from a whole range of energy retailers, it's a bit daunting. And it's not a simple comparison like who's the cheapest, because there's something like 2,000 tariffs in Australia. Across, I don't know, I think it's 26 or so different retailers. And they have all sorts of different plans. Now, how do you know what's the right plan for you? Because it depends on how you use energy, what your, things like peak demand is, using energy in the morning and afternoon and the weekend, during weekdays. Plan Optimizer looks at how you use energy, because the meter is transmitting that data to the cloud, and then it overlays on its database what the best retail plan for you is. Now, that is rocket science. Well, it may not be quite rocket science, but it feels like it. And it means that you can choose the best retailer for your particular energy usage patterns. And if you haven't been told this, there's something in Australia when it comes to electricity retailers. It's called the loyalty tax. That's right. If you stay loyal with the same retailer, generally you're worse off after the first year, because they have a sweet deal to get you on board, and then you fall back to standard pricing. So it's a really good idea to continuously check, particularly as each year ramps around, what is the best plan. So summing up, you can do things like EV charge control, cloud tethering for remote exports. Now, that's something new to me. I'm going to have to read up on that. There is a huge amount of information available on the Catch Power website. I'll link it in the description. And they've got some real-time alerts too, things like be aware that you need to comply with regulations in Queensland around EV charges. There is some investigation of installations that aren't compatible. So the whole thing with the Catch control is amazing, and doing dynamic and flexible exports compliant with Queensland and South Australia and Victoria is probably one of the most significant advantages of this product. And pricing will be available from various suppliers. It's really just a 2-module meter with smarts and a cloud support behind it. And the cloud is where all the clever stuff happens. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's the Catch Power Catch Control 6 channel.